You got it.
Colgate, for the third time in 4 years, they are Patriot League champions.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome, Colgate Country, to the National Signing Day Special, Patriot League Network on Stadium. This is Eric Malinowski. Very glad to be with you, of course, joined by Colgate head football coach Dan Hunt. And what an awesome video that was. The only bad news about that video, it kind of hurts to watch it, Coach, because I want you guys to have a game this Saturday.
Yeah, I just got a little fired up watching that myself. I hadn't seen that one before. That really makes me want to get out and start practicing. You know, you see some of that preseason weather too. You know, you can tell a couple of those were in August, and I take that right about now. But yeah, that was just a great kind of recap of the year we had, and it gets you excited to talk football again.
Thankfully, we have this to my left today, Coach, taking the attraction away from the shine off my Advanced Widow's Peak. There's something actually more shiny in the house today, and that is that beautiful championship trophy.
Yeah, you know, it's up here in the office every day. You know, we come up every day, go to work. Every time the kids come in the office, they see it as a reminder of the year we had and kind of what we're all about. As you can kind of see behind us, the kind of the consistency in year-to-year winning. And, you know, that's what the kids we recruited, that's what we sold them, and that's what we're you know, that's what we're hopefully going to have more of. But it certainly is nice to get reminded every day that you know, we are the champions of the conference, and look forward to keeping it here.
Not too far removed from the last game against North Dakota State. What has the football staff been up to since that game, Coach?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that long ago.
No.
That's right. You know, because of that game, and it's certainly a good reason, we lost 2 weeks on the road in the first recruiting cycle. So basically, when the North Dakota State game ended, really the next day and that Monday, we were all on the road recruiting, trying to get kids up to campus, trying to get some of this group signed for the first signing period in December. You know, so that happened relatively quickly, you know, and then we had a little bit of break around Christmas time, and then right after the national convention, we've been out on the road trying to shore up the rest of this class. So, you know, we signed 13 in the early signing period. Got another 9 signing today, and to be honest with you, we're not done yet either. There may be a name or two we hear down the road here. So, again, it's been extremely busy. Obviously, it's a great reason to lose recruiting time. I will trade 2 weeks of recruiting, you know, for a national playoff game, you know, then have a recruiting weekend, watch somebody else play it. You know, we can be out there playing it, and we can catch up when that's over.
And I would assume playing in a national playoff game is a recruiting tool in itself. Even though you're not on the road that weekend, the kids that watch it, I mean, they want to be a part of Colgate.
Yeah, I would hope that helps. You know, that now 2 of the last 4 years we've gotten to the quarterfinals. It's not just playing in the playoffs for us. We've actually won a couple games each year. And you're right, you do lose time on the road, but to the kids that you're recruiting, they understand that, hey, we're competing for a national championship. We're playing when there's only 8 teams in the country playing. I think we catch a break for not being at their school that week, and we got the kids that we wanted because of that.
Before we get to the list of kids that have committed to Colgate University, Coach, just tell us about the advantages of the early signing day period.
Well, I think it allows you to clear your picture up. A lot of kids these days are signing earlier and earlier. Some of these kids that we have that we're going to see today really committed to us over the summer. And it just gives you a chance to make it official a little bit earlier. So like I said, we signed 13 kids in that December period. It's nice you can kind of look at that and say, okay, now let's take a reassessment, make sure we're where we want to be from a scholarship allotment, make sure where we want to be from a slot allotment, and now in the second half, make sure we get the positions that we need in order to set, reach the goals that we set. You set every year when you start recruiting of what your positional needs are, and you have to stay disciplined to those. You can't get caught up in signing a bunch of positions you don't need because they have good highlight films or anything like that. You have to stay disciplined to what you need, and that's where that little first period gives you a chance to kind of check the scoreboard, make sure you're where you want to be, and also it gets those kids locked up and done, and you don't have to worry about them changing their mind or going anywhere else, and you can move on.
Before we get into the individual names, what were the areas of discipline this year? What were the needs that Colgate had coming into this offseason?
Sure. I think our philosophy is, no matter what year it is, we're going to start up front on the offensive and defensive line. That's not always the sexiest films you're going to watch. That's not always the most fun stuff. But that's where you win football games. The offensive and defensive line. We're always going to make sure that we give enough money to those and enough spots to those that we can continue that tradition of being strong up the middle on both sides of the ball. Obviously, after that, offensively, this was a year we definitely needed to get a quarterback. We didn't take one last year, so we definitely had to take one this year. We did that. From an offensive standpoint, we'll always obviously a running back's going to be important for what we do, and then we did expend and we put a decent amount of money into our wide receivers too. So and then you look at the defensive side of the football. I look at our defense. It's 3 linemen, 2 corners, and 6 runners and hitters. That's really how we try to phrase it. We have a lot of kids on here who might be a linebacker right now, who might be a safety. They might be a safety right now. They might be a linebacker. They might be a linebacker right now. They might be a defensive lineman, but they're runners and hitters, and that's our philosophy of what we're looking for. Obviously, you need guys who can play corner and cover, but at the end of the day, when you watch our defense play, they run to the ball and they hit. So I really think that we've done a nice job of identifying that and sticking to that.
Well, Coach, you said it starts up front, so let's start our first positional unit, the defensive line for 2019 Colgate signing day. Let's start with a kid out of Georgia, Jackson Leak.
Yeah, Jackson's he's an outside linebacker / defensive end, great size, physical football player, very good basketball player. We went down and watched him play a basketball game this year. Son of a coach. Kind of everything you're looking for in a player. You can see him here. He's athletic enough to get after the quarterback. He's big and strong enough to be able to be effective in the run game, and he's very long. He can disrupt the quarterback. He can disrupt passes. And, he's just going to get bigger, stronger, more explosive. Part of really, you're going to see this is one of the better defensive line classes we've signed.
And another kid out of Ohio, Connor Meyer, I was able to watch a couple of his clips today, Coach. Very impressive.
Yeah, he's an inside guy. Could also play he could play outside eventually, too. Another very good basketball player for his size. He's just one of those guys who will take over the interior of a defensive line and wreak havoc. Strong kid, uses his leverage well. Is going to be good against the run and the pass. You can see he's got great hands and able to get off of a block. Another son of a coach. Obviously, that always helps. Just a kid who we see fit in that mold of our inside guys who is going to be versatile. He's going to look at the nose, might be able to play a little bit of 3 technique. Again, I think he's going to be a real difference maker.
Let's go from Ohio to Illinois. The next kid on the list, Zach Pelland.
Zach, first and foremost, Zach's one of the best students we've ever recruited. Really good in the classroom, but as you watch him here, he is a dominant football player. I see him kind of the mold of Caleb Fell. Going to be able to play nose, going to be able to play end, going to be able to rush the passer from the outside, going to be able to play the run from the inside. Really as excited about this kid as we've been in a long time from a defensive lineman standpoint. Great hands, great feet. Can turn the corner on you to rush the passer, can hold a block, can hold his gap and then make something happen. Again, just another part of this defensive line, which was a priority, and I think really we've hit it perfect with this class. Before we go to the next defensive line recruit, how important is that versatility? For what we do, it's real important. Obviously we're a 3-4 scheme, but when you can have a guy who can play nose and play 5 technique. It lets you just play more guys and do
Yeah.
more things. And, we have very few guys who are locked into one position. We like guys who can do both and have the skill set to play inside against the run and outside against the pass.
Let's go to the state of New Jersey for the next signee, Henry Sullivan. Coach, tell us about him.
Yeah, another kid with the potential to play both inside and outside. Really gotten to know this kid, really good family. Comes from a very good program down in New Jersey. You can see him here again. Plays the run well, uses his hands well, extends off blocks, but also has the athletic ability to be out on the edge if we need to put him there and rush the pass, or maybe even do some dropping into coverage. He's a kid that, be honest with you, if he played offense, probably would be a tight end. He's that type of kid. So really a nice compliment to this defensive line. We've gotten 4 guys that we think fit our mold and are going to be able to help us down the road. And again, that's from a defensive standpoint. That's where we started. That's where we wanted to make sure that we were sound.
We're going to switch positions now, Patriot League Network on Stadium, but we're going to stay in the state of New Jersey, Coach, for a linebacker, Brendan Ekwahalu.
Yeah, Brendan is as dynamic of an athlete as we've ever recruited here. He's a kid. We talk about when we recruit kids, we don't care how many people signed you. We don't care who else is recruiting you. This kid had over 18 offers coming out of high school. What we really love about him is he is strong enough to be an inside linebacker. He is physical enough to be an inside linebacker, but he runs well enough to play safety or outside linebacker for us. Going to be an absolute special teams dream. One of the more physical kids we've ever recruited, and really has been a kid who's been on board since day one. When he committed to us, he was key in this class. He was the guy that was getting on Twitter and talking to all the other kids, getting them to come here. He breeds our culture. He could have gone to a lot of different places, but he liked what we stand for. He liked being about getting better, like being about physical, and like being about winning at the end of the day. And he's a kid. He'll find the field, at multiple different uses, whether it be inside, outside, special teams, and that's a name you're going to be pronouncing for 4 years.
The next state we go to, a very popular state as far as Colgate is concerned, the state of Pennsylvania. Tyler Flick.
Yeah, Tyler's just our type of kid. I mean, just a Colgate guy. To be honest with you, we would have recruited him also at tailback, but then we found a bigger need for him at linebacker, that's the type of kid we have. Inside guy all the way right now. Downhill football player, physical football player, can run. Another kid who will be on, you watch him even next year, will be on every special team we have. But to be honest with you, he was on both recruiting boards, which shows that you're a good football player. Like I said, we liked him as a tailback. We end up taking him as a linebacker, that's the type of kid that we've just done so well with. You take him, you develop him. He's a football player. He loves to play the game. He likes what we're about. And he enjoys the intricacies and the contact and the grit of football, and I can't wait to see him play.
The next kid we're going to talk about, when I ask him eventually, what do you think of the Hamilton, New York winners? He's just going to say, well, it's where I'm from, it's far worse. We're going to go to Canada, Coach, for Arthur Hamlin.
Yeah, one of the few kids coming south to come here. He came to our football camp and really showed some unbelievable athletic ability. He's a kid that, as you look at him, you see him here playing a little bit outside linebacker, rushing the passer, being physical. To be honest with you, he could play in the secondary. He's athletic enough. He was real impressive at our camp in his cover skills. He was real impressive with his ball skills. And then when you watch him play football, obviously you're real impressive with his physicality. So he's going to be a kid. The sky's the limit for him as far as, just kind of plugging him into the right place. And he's another guy who probably will play more than one position when he's here. But it is good. We haven't had a Canadian kid in a while, so it's good to get up there and and get into that ground and hopefully keep more coming.
To the Bay State we go. How about Will Coleman, Coach?
Will, a Colgate family. A lot of Colgate in his family. He's a prep school kid from Deerfield Academy. Has been to campus quite a bit, obviously, with his ties to Colgate. He's another kid. He's playing inside linebacker here. True inside linebacker grit. We liked him at camp for that. And at the end of the day, to be honest with you, you see him here playing linebacker. He's a kid, if we ever needed maybe to have him play some fullback, could definitely do that. He'd be comfortable doing that. Like I said, he's been to campus quite a bit, very familiar with the program. His sister married a former Colgate football player, so he knows all about us. And, just joining the Colgate family from a Colgate family.
And there won't be any confusion with Will Coleman and Coleman Coco, right?
Let's hope not.
Let's go to the defensive backs coach, Keyshawn Dancy, as we stay in the state of Massachusetts. Springfield Central product.
Yeah, Springfield. Shout out to Springfield College where I went, but he's from Springfield Central. One of two players from Springfield Central. Real long corner, physical corner. As you can see here, great ball skills. And what I like about him is, again, you'll see him playing corner, but there's no doubt in my mind he's physical enough to play safety. That's what we look for. You know, we don't necessarily looking for a cover corner. We look for a guy who, at the end of the day, can hit you, and certainly he can do that. So he gives us some versatility with his size, with his length, and with his ball skills. You know, just another great athlete back there, kind of in that same tradition we've had in our secondary.
And since you did the shout-out to Springfield College, I may as well give a shout-out to your hometown, Canja-Harry. I actually had to drive through there today, Coach. So.
You didn't blink, did you?
But that's enough Coach Hunt shout-outs for now. Let's keep with the defensive backs. Going to Michigan, how about Jackson Prince?
Jackson Price. Jackson Price, Reed
yep.
City, Michigan. When you watch his film, one thing that's going to stick out at you, he is one of the more physical kids we've ever signed here. Not the biggest kid right now, but he will come out of the secondary and hit you. He's got everything we look for in a football player. Great ball skills, played quarterback. Dad's a coach. Just absolutely a kid that you can play him at safety because he'll hit you. You can play him at corner because he can cover you. You watch him here run. He just loves to play football. Again, runners and hitters. That's what we're talking about, and that's what he fits. I can't wait to see what he can do.
Jackson Price, once again, from Michigan. And now we're going to be talking long snapper, Coach. What about Tucker Dunn out of Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, overlooked skill. Something that, you got to make sure you have. Is one of those positions that you don't, until you don't have one, you don't realize how important they are. Tucker's dad played here, great guy. He's been around campus, obviously another Colgate family. But, what's nice about it is you got to have that guy. He can long snap, he can short snap. He's a big enough guy to hold up in protection. He can cover. He can do everything you need. And we feel, special teams are important, and you can't neglect that. So when you get a kid who has that skill, you want to make sure that you cover it. And now we feel for the next 4 years, that aspect of the game is taken care of. So we're real happy to have him. And
his family already styling and profiling. They look very sharp today at the signing day. I saw the tweet with his family, all kinds of Colgate gear.
Oh, yeah. That's a Colgate family all the way. And we love when we can get the kids of Colgate people.
We love linebackers at Colgate University so much, Coach. We're going to go back to one. Let's go to Nate Miller from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Nate, his NLI came in just under the wire. That's why we're getting to him now. It just came in, so we can now announce him. Cole Region kid in Pennsylvania, inside linebacker kid. Just again, when you think of the Cole region of Pennsylvania, you think about a kid who plays like this. He's versatile. You can see him here as a physical inside linebacker, but also if we had to move him to the outside linebacker, we could. And to be honest with you, another kid like Will Coleman, probably if we said, hey, we have a need for some fullback work, could do that. Again, just that whole culture of football, loves the game, loves the process, loves everything about it. We were real impressed with him and his family, and so we were real happy. Again, I know his NLI just cleared compliance, which is why he's out of order. But just real happy to have him, and that shores up that linebacker class.
Speaking of those NLIs, how much of it is a sense of relief when you do get the letters from the kids you have been recruiting and you think are going to come here?
Sure. I mean, obviously, until we get it, NCAA rules have said we can't announce it at all anyway. But until you have it, you never know. And once you get it, that kind of changes what your relationship can be with them. We can start sending them some playbooks. We can send them some strength stuff. But, it's just kind of, I always tell the kids when they commit that the NLI is just one step in the process, but it's a big step.
Yeah.
And, now they're in. We got all the ones that we were expected to get so far today. Like I said, we are waiting on one or two more kids. But, just nice. And it's nice for the family. I enjoy the pictures of the kids, having the ceremony to school when they make their commitment. It's a big day for them. And, hopefully that, they can enjoy it, and now that it's done, they can go back to being kind of regular high school seniors and go on with their lives a little bit.
Making the transition from defense to offense, but as Coach likes it, we're going to stay up front first. Let's go with the offensive line, and let's go to the state of Maryland, Coach, for Drew Bergeron.
Yeah, Drew, versatile kid. Drew, at one point in his career, was a quarterback, believe it or not. So you can get an idea for his athleticism. Obviously, again, it starts up front with us. Offensive line is our most important position on the offense. We like kids who can run block first. Yes, you have to pass block in our offense, but the first thing we look for is, will they come off? Will they get on you? Will they finish blocks? Can they block in space? Which is obviously in our offense is important. You can see Drew here. He pulls. He gets to the second level. He finishes. He's a guy. He could play any of the 5 positions, but you start him off thinking any inside 3. He's got that versatility, and he's going to fit right in with the rest of our offensive linemen.
Staying pretty nearby, Coach, Maine Endwell High School for A.J. DeSantis, and I think we just had a kid on the team that had some pretty good success from Maine Endwell.
Yeah, I was going to say that hit in the Army game was, was whiz. Yes, so we're very familiar with Maine Endwell. A.J.'s a kid we've known about for a while. Obviously, being so local, comes from a great family. Great football program, great tradition there, and he is. When you dial up what you want out of an offensive lineman at Colgate, he's it. Nothing fancy, not into all the, all the showmanship and all that. He is going to come off the ball and he's going to finish you, and that's important. He's played another guy. He's played inside. He's played outside. Great feet, fits our scheme, enjoys the physicality of the game, enjoys the process of football, and like you said, we've had some good luck with players from that high school, so we're hoping to keep that going.
Staying local as well, Coach, although I'm not sure if I've ever said this high school as far as National Signing Day is concerned. Homer Central in New York, Damian Hoyt.
Yeah, down near Cortland, Homer Central. Mike Jasper, who played here a long time ago, now runs all of our B&G. He played there, but that was long before signing day. Damian's one of the strongest kids we've ever signed. Physically, just absolutely an impressive kid. Loves the weight room. You watch him here. He has the ability to get on you very quickly. Finish you with his strength, loves the game, loves nothing more than preparing for football, and loves Colgate. This kid, obviously he's local. He came to every home game that he could have come to this year. He did. Was at our playoff game. Just been around the program ever since he committed. Which is what you want. We look for kids who buy into what we do. He's bought into what we do, and I think that he's going to have a great career here.
One kid that will hopefully be hurling out defensive tackles out of the way in the near future, Coach, will be a kid from New Jersey, Joe Hurley.
Yeah, Joe fits our mold again for why we recruit the way we do. Not the tallest kid in the world. That doesn't bother us. Just look no further than Jack Badovanak. But he does what we want our linemen to do. He comes off the ball. Obviously, he's going to be an inside guy. Comes off the ball, gets under you, moves his feet, and finishes you. And at the end of the day, I'm not too sophisticated. That's what offensive line play is. I say it all the time. I've never watched a play on football and said, oh, this would have been a better play if our guard was taller. So his height doesn't bother us. We love the way he plays the game. We love the way he finished. We love his aggression. He's going to fit right in perfectly with what we do. He's athletic enough to pull and get to the second level like we ask him to do. Again, as a group, we're just really happy with this offensive line. That's where we start. That's our priority. That's where we're going to make sure that we never skimp anywhere. And hopefully, we've done it here, and they'll fit in with the culture of our offensive line. And I can't wait to see what they do.
Let's go with the tight ends, and I got to chat with Coach Dow before the National Signing Day special, and he's very excited about this kid out of Pennsylvania, Coach Jason Kachowski.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, he's from Wyoming Sem, right down the road, and then from the Pittsburgh area out of high school. Just really what we were looking for in a tight end. He's got the size. He's 6'3". He's got great hands. You can see him here. He's a great target, good physicality. But I think one of the things that we learned about him as we got to know him through the recruiting process is, you're going to see a lot of film of him here flexed out and doing that stuff, which certainly he will do for us. But he's also a true tight end. He will put his hand in the ground. He will block you. He loves the weight room. He's going to get bigger and stronger. And for what we do, again, yes, our tight ends need to be able to catch the ball, but also they need to be able to block you. And he can do all of this. And we're real excited. This is a position that, we want to make sure that we keep kind of well-stocked and in our offense. They're versatile. We can do a lot of different things with them. But at the end of the day, they got to be able to run, they got to be able to catch, they got to be able to block, and he can do all three of those. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I can see why Coach Dow was so excited.
And we all know the talent that you have at the quarterback position in Grant Brenneman, but you said, this is the year where you needed to stock that position. So you go to North Carolina to get Nick Fry.
Yeah, a little different part of the country for us. We've been recruiting Nick for a while. He actually committed to us before the first signing period, but just we couldn't get him up on his visit till afterwards. So, we've known about him for a while. True dual threat kid. Can run, obviously, as you see there. Can throw. Got a great football head. From every time I talk to him, he really understands the game. I think he's really going to be able to do everything we ask the quarterback to do. Taller kid. He grew a lot going into his senior year. He's up to 6'3" right now, which is a bonus. But, when you look at him, our offense is a little bit unique. We don't look for the same quarterbacks everybody else does. Our kid has to be able to run. He has to be able to be a good enough athlete to run our read game and still throw the football, and that's what he does. And like I said, he'd been committed to us for a while. He just didn't sign till today because we couldn't work out getting him up for a visit because he had some other things going on. But we're real happy there. Obviously, in our offense, that's a position that you got to keep well stocked, and he will be on the mold of the quarterbacks that we've had.
Florida has always been a great state to Colgate, and it's always been great to Colgate as far as running backs are concerned. That brings us to our next signee, Coach Moses Aracena out of Florida.
Yeah, Moses, I saw him in the spring. He is our type of running back when you look at him physically. Not the tallest kid in the world, but he is he's 200 pounds. And watching him here, I mean, he certainly looks like James Holland or Alex Matthews and Malik Twyman. Just our type of kid. As you can see, he can run between the tackles and be physical, but he also has that explosiveness to turn a short play into a long play, and that's exactly what we're looking for. We have had some luck with Florida running backs. He will fit that mold of being that powerful inside guy who can run between the tackles, but also, once he gets a little bit of space, he can hit that home run. And again, not everybody recruits that type of running back. Go back to James Holland.
Yeah.
James, we were the only school that really recruited James Holland.
That's amazing
and
to
he
me.
ends up being an All-American. And one of the things we try to do here is recruit to our system. Again, not let other teams do our recruiting. Again, some of our kids have had a ton of offers. Some of our kids were their only offer, and that doesn't matter to us. It's about culture. It's about fit, and he fits what we do. And I can't wait to see when he gets up here and joins our other running backs.
Florida's been good to you as far as running backs are concerned. Well, Illinois has been very good to Colgate when it comes to the wide receiver position, and that brings us to Rory Boos.
Yeah, Rory, Loyola. We got a little pipeline going from Loyola. A lot of kids coming from there. Skaggs, Olma Scaglia, Jack Badovanak, and now Rory. He's second leading receiver in school history. He's one of these kids. He can run by you. And get you deep. He also can take a short one and turn it into a long one. And obviously it's a school that we're quite familiar with, an area we're quite familiar with that's becoming really good to us. So we feel real comfortable recruiting this area, recruiting this school. When you see the success, that these kids have had from that school, coming in and they can go back with their rings on and show the school. And, it makes it easy. You get that relationship, you can keep it going. And Rory's a kid who can come in and hopefully continue that legacy and really help. Receivers a big need for us this year. We lost quite a few due to graduation, so they're going to have to come in and they're going to have a chance to compete to be on the field.
And those highlights, it shows that in the mold of a Colgate wide receiver, go up and get the ball.
Go up and get it, that's right.
Next up, we're going to go back to Springfield Central for Miles Bradley.
Yeah, Miles, our second half of the Springfield guys. They want, another thing, this team won a state title this year. They're used to winning. Miles is an explosive kid. Can get off the line of scrimmage, handles press coverage really well, so that won't rattle him when he gets into the college game. Another kid who can go by you on a deep ball, but also, as you can see here, can turn a short one into a long one, which is something that it's an extension of the run game. Maybe you throw him an RPO, maybe you throw him a screen pass, and next thing you know, he's gone. But he's got great hands, great physicality, strong, can go up and get the football, and then he can outrun you. And I think that's something that sometimes people don't give the Colgate receivers enough respect for being able to create some big plays. But, you look at Owen Rocket, we do have guys who can run by you and do that, and certainly he's going to be able to do that. And like I said, this is a big year for wideouts, and we're just real happy to have him. I think he's going to have a great career here.
The tallest wide receiver recruit, Coach. Next up, out of Illinois, Ryan C.K. at 6'4".
Yeah, again, typical Colgate. We got to have that big guy to throw it up to. He's kind of that Thomas Ives mold, make a quarterback's friend, just get it near him. We actually saw him at the Northwestern camp out in Chicago over the summer. Same with Rory. We saw him there too. But again, anyone that watches Colgate football plays knows we've had a lot of balls that look like that one. Fade balls, throw it to the big guy, let him go up and get it. He'll be physical in the blocking game. We can move him around, get him different matchups. Just again, big catch radius, quarterback's friends. Just fits that mold. Again, fits the mold of what we've been looking for. We know what we want. He's going to come in and really, do you really replace Thomas Ives? But of that mold, of that variety, to kind of be the next guy like that.
Last on the list from the state of Michigan, Coach Kobe Russell.
Kobe's another guy came to our camp. Dad played at Michigan State, so he's got a good bloodline. Another do-it-all kid. Can take a short catch, maybe break a tackle, make it a big catch. Can also beat you deep. Deceiving speed. Just one of those kids who wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the day you see him maybe running a speed sweep, catching bubble screens, returning kicks. Just real versatile. Again, he came to watch one of our spring practices, and we were practicing at 6 in the morning, and he was out there. That's when I knew that, all right, this is our type of kid. If you're going to come, take your unofficial visit and watch us practice at 6 a.m. in the beginning of March. You're a hardy kid, and you're going to fit into our culture, and that's what he does. And that's really what this whole class does. You know, I think sometimes with recruiting you get caught up in, you know, too many highlights or whatever it is, you know. And at the end of the day, we try to recruit to our culture. We try to recruit to people who can help us continue what we've been doing. I think our players do a great job recruiting. I think that's something that sometimes gets overlooked. We value the opinion of our current players. We try to get these guys with our current players to continue the culture that we have. And you know, I think that our players and our assistant coaches really did a great job with this class of you know, putting it together. You know, you got to recruit during the season, you know, and recruiting never stops now. So to be going through the season that we had, you know, 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, all this, sometimes you get caught up with that, but the recruiting never stopped. And you know, I give that, again, that credit goes to the assistant coaches who just did a great job, and Coach DeCosti, our recruiting coordinator, who kind of pieces this all together. And Debbie, who also, you know, this wouldn't happen without Debbie. So it's a team effort, but when you see this result, and you know, obviously they haven't played it down yet, but you can feel pretty good about these guys when they come in because they bought what we sold them. You know, we sold them the hard parts of playing football. It's not just all, you know, running out of the tunnel and putting on your uniform and doing all that stuff. Hey, there's hard parts of football. There's challenging practices. There's cold weather. And these kids all know that, and they signed on to be a part of it, and that's why I think that we've been able to be so successful.
Yeah, that's just not placed there, Coach, that trophy. That a lot of hard work goes into that.
Yeah, those kids earned that for the last year, and hopefully we can keep it here.
Well, that completes our current list, Coach, but still a little work to be done?
Yeah, we're going to have at least one, probably two more names on this list, maybe even three. This is just the start of the period.
Okay.
So we can sign kids beyond this, and we're certainly going to. And so, you know, keep tuning in because there will be a name or two more coming.
And, Coach, I know to get playing time right away in Division I is hard enough, especially with a championship program like Colgate. But saying that, I know there's a set of circumstances that may have to happen too. But do you think out of this list there's another Javion Queen? Javion Queen had a great year, you know, due to some injuries and stuff. But he was very up to the challenge, did great as a freshman. So could we be mentioning one of these kids next year in the same way as Javion Queen?
Well, I would say if it holds true to form, yes, we're going to. You know, I would have sat here last year. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that Javion Queen was going to start every game but one, and he did. He did a great job. You know, the year before, Jack Badovanak, you know, every year we call on freshmen to play. I can't tell you who. Hopefully any of these kids would be ready to do it. You never know. You know, you get an injury here or there or whatever, and the next thing you know, a kid's playing. Obviously, you never want to promise a kid playing time as a freshman. I don't think that that's fair to anybody, but we do also offer you the chance to compete, and if you're good enough, you're gonna. And you never know. You know, you never know the circumstances that could lead to it, and hopefully, if it does happen, we have another Javion who can step in and really grow throughout the season and perform as well as he did. And now you've got an experienced sophomore who's got 3 years ahead of him. You know, look at Grant Brenneman, same thing, you know, and you forget he's only a sophomore right now. So, you know, again, I'm not going to sit here and say who, but chances are one of these guys will play significantly next year.
We talked about the talent. We talked about you have to obviously be a good student to go here at Colgate University. So we covered the academics portion. How much is the personality component factor in while recruiting? I mean, you know, I was going to ask, are there any Abu Dhabi soirees in the mix? But there's only one Abu Dhabi soiree. But how important is it that a kid has a good personality and is going to mesh here at Colgate?
Yeah, well, I think that's important. I think that's why we put them with our kids so much on their visit, you know, kind of so they understand the personality of our team, they understand the culture of our team, and really it takes all kinds. You know, you got Abu, who has a big outgoing personality, and then you maybe look at Grant, who's not like that, but you need both kinds.
Yeah.
And we have all kinds in this class, but ultimately, though, different personalities for as far as that, but same personality as far as being driven to want to compete in the classroom, compete on the field, and compete for championships and compete at a national level. And that's really what we look for. And some of those kids can do it with a bubbly personality. Some of those kids do it with a quiet personality. But at the end of the day, they have the same goals. Is they want more of these, and they want more rings, and they want to compete. And really win, you know, get past the quarterfinals now. You know, we've been to the quarterfinals 2 of the last 4 years. Now, can we take the next step? And when you talk to these kids, that's what they want to do. They know it won't be easy. Nothing is easy here, but, you know, they're going to fit the culture that the kids before them have established here. And, you know, they're going to go out and, you know, the first chance they have to get to work, they're going to go to work. And hopefully, you know, we're just up here. We're going to try to win some football games. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Another key to coming to Colgate to play football, you know you're going to look very sharp on the football field. Is Brock Hazlett in his Uniswag laboratory right now working on a concoction for 2019?
Oh yeah. There will be some fun to be had with the uniforms and obviously with the second helmet and do all that stuff. And it's funny. A lot of that is new. The recruits don't know a lot about that because on their visit we don't really talk too much about it. We kind of let it get them for when they're here. But yeah, Brock will come up with something, and we'll have a look that's we had the 200-year look this year with the Lafayette game, and that was a great success. But we'll do something, and it's fun. College football is supposed to be fun. There's parts of it that you remember forever, and we'll have a good time with it, and we'll look sharp, that's for sure, and we'll play even better.
Other than working on a couple of other recruits, Coach, what's next for Colgate football?
Well, starting next week now, we'll get back with the team a little bit more. They've been lifting. We'll start our morning conditioning stuff. We'll start our film review with the players and get ready for spring practice. It's interesting to have the 3 extra weeks of the postseason. It's like we already had spring practice. That's 15 practices right there. So you got to be a little bit careful with how much you do with them. But we're basically going to switch now from recruiting mode back to football mode. And, start to prepare the 2019 version of this team and kind of set our goals and, kind of find out who our leaders are going to be. And, that's really the best part of the year. I love spring ball. I love this time of year because this year's team is going to be different than last year's teams. Might have the same goals, but they're going to have a different personality. And you got to kind of make sure that everything's set with your culture, and which I'm sure it will be. And, it's just fun kind of seeing what the next step's going to be for these guys and who's going to emerge and, watch the young kids really get their chance to play. So I enjoy this time of year.
Coach, this National Signing Day special is always a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I appreciate the time, and, go Gate.
That is Colgate head football coach Dan Hunt. This is Eric Malinowski. Until next time, be proud to wear the maroon and white. Patriot League Network on Stadium.